Sacramento County District Attorney. I've spoken to the club once before. I've spoken to other clubs. I am going to be glancing down occasionally to take a look at the clock. I can tell you the one thing that I want to do, I want to try and make my case a little bit for why I want to be the top criminal law lawyer in Sacramento County, which is what the DA does. But I'm going to be brief about that because more important, I wanted to talk to you about who I am, why I'm a Democrat, and why I'm in the race. And then I want to leave a little bit of time with those three lofty goals already in mind to maybe take a question so that someone can ask some questions or a question of me. Let me tell you first of all about who I am because it relates to the fact of what I am standing in front of you, which is I'm the underdog. I mean, clearly, I am the underdog in this race. I got in this race late. I am running an uphill battle, and there's a very good reason why I got in this race late. That's who I am, and I wanted to talk to you about it. And that is, I grew up in Sonoma County over in Santa Rosa, for those of you who may know the area. And I grew up in a very poor family. We were on welfare when I was growing up most of the time. My mother was a single mother raising 2 children after a divorce. She had 2 children by the time she was 20. I was the second. And quite frankly, she dropped out of high school and didn't have much education. And here I stand in front of you as an experienced lawyer who spent time, not just 13 years in the DA's office as a prosecutor, but 5 years in the U.S. Attorney's Office working, enforcing criminal law in federal court. And what does that say to you? That means something, that's what I'm talking about why I'm a Democrat. I'm part of the American dream. My grandparents were Greek immigrants who spoke very little English, but the one thing that they talked about nonstop, almost to the point of wanting to kill you, is about what a great country this is, and what a great dream the American dream is. And I heard that at every meal, and every day. And it was always about that dirty guy Nixon, and how he didn't want to help the little guy, right? And the great sainted Roosevelt and the sainted Kennedy. That was the environment that I grew up in. But even more important than that, as I got older, and I realized, and I sat in those lines as my mother was paying for our groceries with food stamps, because frequently she was out of work. She'd work as a maid in hotels, or she'd work odd jobs. When she was paying, I'd see how people looked at us, as if it was my fault, right? As if I had something to feel guilty about for being a second grader whose mother was paying with food stamps. And I thought, no, I didn't do anything. And then as I grew, and I realized, look, our party is the party of opportunity. And I can say, Pell Grants, I benefited from them. Governor Pat Brown and the University of California, thank God, the community college system. I went to community college. I went to the University of California, Davis. And then I had the chance, virtually free, to go to one of the best law schools in the country, the University of California, Berkeley. And I wanted to give back. I wanted to give back. And that's why I was a prosecutor for so long. Now, I had to leave my job as a U.S. attorney because they don't allow you to run. The other 2 candidates in the race can keep their jobs and stay in place. I couldn't. It's worth it. But then I said, I'm going to tell you why I got in the race late. Well, let me tell you why I got in the race late. It's about a year ago right now that I sat down and had a frank conversation with my mother where she told me she'd just gone to the doctor and they said 6 months to a year. And it turned out to be 6 months. Almost to the day of when she said that. She died on July 31st. Now, I wanted to get in this race earlier. I wanted to pursue things earlier. But I want you to know something about her. She looked under the table, as so many people who can barely make it do. She had no resources except right here, okay? And anything that we as Democrats would give to people. She worked, but she did it secretly. And then the company went out of business and there was no one there to give her anything. And about 9 months ago, I got a call where she was on the verge of homelessness. And I'm going to tell you this because that's who I am. And I'm trying to give you the background of what kind of person I am so that you'll know that I would have done anything for her. And more important, in any political position, than being DA, than any applicant, the only thing I